Have you ever wondered if adventures after the age of 70 are still a great idea? The image of exotic lands, unique cultures, and unforgettable experiences always compels us to pack our bags and set off. However, behind that captivating beauty lie risks that many seniors often overlook until they face them directly. As we pass the age of 70, our bodies and minds undergo significant changes, making travel more tiring, unpredictable, and even dangerous than ever before. Many people still think they can maintain the same pace of life as when they were younger, but the reality is much harsher. Traveling at this age presents unique challenges that can turn a dream vacation into a stressful nightmare, even life-threatening. Imagine you are retirees, Mary and John Smith, who have dreamed of a trip around the world for years. They have saved money, planned meticulously, and prepared everything. But are they really ready for the difficulties that age brings? In this video, we will explore 5 important reasons why traveling after 70 can be fraught with risks. From unexpected medical emergencies to sophisticated financial traps that can drain your savings, each aspect will help you better understand the challenges that seniors face when traveling. By the end of this video, you will have a comprehensive understanding of why traveling at this stage of life requires special caution. And more importantly, you will know how to protect yourself if you still decide to set off and explore the world. Stay tuned until the end of the video, because the last reason we share is something that many seniors often don't think about. But this is one of the most common ways people lose money, time, and peace of mind when traveling. Now, let's get started. 1. Increased health risks and medical emergencies. One of the biggest concerns when traveling after 70 is the risk of experiencing sudden health problems. As we age, our bodies become more unpredictable. Chronic conditions such as heart disease, high blood pressure, and respiratory problems can flare up into emergency situations when we least expect it. At home, accessing medical care is easy and quick. But when you're traveling, especially in a strange place or another country, getting the right treatment can become much more complicated. A minor health issue that could be easily resolved at home can quickly become a serious, even life-threatening situation when you are far from a regular doctor. For many seniors, the risk of a medical emergency is not just a theory, but a very real threat. Long flights can increase the risk of blood clots, also known as deep vein thrombosis, DVT. High altitudes can put stress on the heart and lungs, especially for those with underlying conditions. Even simple issues like dehydration or heat stroke can have more serious impacts in an unfamiliar climate. Older adults are also more susceptible to infections, which means that exposure to new types of bacteria and viruses in different locations can lead to unexpected illnesses. Let's listen to the story of James Anderson, a 74-year-old man who has always loved to travel. He planned a 2-week cruise with his wife, thinking it would be a relaxing way to see new lands without too much physical stress. But on the 4th day of the trip, he began to experience severe chest pain. The medical staff on board provided basic care, but he needed to get to a hospital as soon as possible. Because they were in the middle of the ocean, he had to wait for an emergency evacuation to the nearest port, delaying treatment for hours. Fortunately, he survived, but the experience left a deep emotional scar. The trip that was supposed to be a dream vacation became a terrifying ordeal. He later admitted that the incident could have been prevented if he had considered the risks more carefully. Health insurance is another important issue. Many seniors assume that their regular health insurance will be valid wherever they go, but they only find out when it's too late that they are not covered for medical treatment in another country. Without proper travel insurance, hospital visits, emergency surgeries, and even basic medications can lead to huge expenses. Some seniors have to pay thousands of dollars just to get the care they need when abroad. So what can we do? If you're over 70 and considering traveling, be sure to consult your doctor first. Have a comprehensive health assessment, discuss any potential risks, and make sure you have all the necessary medications available. Always learn about the healthcare system at your destination. If traveling abroad, make sure you have comprehensive travel insurance, including emergency evacuation and hospitalization costs. Because when it comes to health, preparation can make a big difference between a smooth trip and a disaster. Maintaining good health is one of the most important factors in enjoying life after 70. But besides the health risks, there is another reason why traveling can become more of a burden than a pleasure. And this affects not only your health, but also your finances and peace of mind. 2. Increased exposure to infections and pollutants. One of the most overlooked dangers of traveling after 70 is the increased exposure to germs, viruses, and foodborne illnesses. Crowded airports, cramped airplanes, public transportation, and unfamiliar restaurants all create an ideal environment for bacteria and viruses to thrive. For younger people, a mild cold or stomach ache may just be a temporary inconvenience. But for older adults, these infections can lead to serious complications, hospitalization, or even long-term health effects. A single trip can expose an older person to more diseases than they typically encounter in months at home. And in some cases, their immune system is not strong enough to fight them off. As we age, our immune systems naturally weaken, making it harder to recover from infections. Respiratory illnesses, in particular, pose a significant risk to older adults. Studies have shown that seniors are more likely to experience complications from the flu, pneumonia, and even a common cold, especially when exposed to new strains of viruses in different parts of the world. Airplanes are particularly dangerous breeding grounds for germs. Passengers are often seated close together, breathing recycled air for hours. And because people from all over the world pass through airports daily, it's easy to catch viruses that your body has never been exposed to before. Then, there's the issue of food and water safety. Many travelers are excited to try new foods in different countries. But for older adults, unfamiliar ingredients, spices, and cooking methods can lead to digestive problems. Foodborne illnesses like norovirus, E. coli, and salmonella can hit older people much harder, leading to prolonged illness, dehydration, and a severely weakened immune system. While locals may have built up immunity to certain bacteria in their water supply, travelers often don't have the same protection. Something as simple as drinking tap water or eating a salad washed with local water can lead to serious stomach infections. Public restrooms, hotel rooms, and rental cars are other places where germs can lurk. Many people assume that if a place looks clean, it's safe. But surfaces like doorknobs, seat belts, and tray tables are rarely disinfected as thoroughly as they should be. Older adults who rely on mobility aids like canes or walkers are at even higher risk, as they frequently touch public surfaces for balance. So, how can older adults protect themselves? If traveling is unavoidable, taking extra precautions is crucial. Wearing a mask in crowded places, washing hands frequently, and carrying hand sanitizer can help reduce the risk of picking up harmful germs. Drinking only bottled or filtered water, avoiding raw foods in unfamiliar places, and only eating dishes that are cooked thoroughly can help prevent foodborne illnesses. For those traveling internationally, getting recommended vaccinations and carrying essential medications for stomach problems or respiratory infections is a must. Staying healthy while traveling is entirely possible, but it requires vigilance, preparation, and a healthy immune system. However, health risks are not the only concern. There is another reason why traveling after 70 can be more of a burden than a pleasure. And this can affect not only your health, but also your finances and peace of mind. 3. Travel fatigue and recovery challenges. Traveling might seem exciting, but for those over 70, the physical strains can be far greater than expected. Long flights, early check-in procedures, unpredictable schedules, and hours of walking can lead to a level of exhaustion that's difficult to recover from. Unlike younger years, when a good night's sleep could bounce you back, older adults often find that fatigue lingers for days or even weeks after a trip. And when the body is tired, everything else suffers. Immune function weakens, coordination diminishes, and the risk of illness or injury skyrockets. One of the biggest problems older adults face when traveling is disrupted sleep. Sleeping in an unfamiliar bed, dealing with noisy hotels, or adjusting to different time zones can make it nearly impossible to get a good night's rest. Lack of sleep not only leaves you feeling tired, It also impacts mental clarity, weakens the immune system, and even increases the risk of cardiovascular problems. Studies have shown that older adults who travel across multiple time zones often take longer to adjust, meaning jet lag can last longer than expected. This prolonged exhaustion can turn an enjoyable trip into a miserable experience, leaving travelers feeling depleted instead of refreshed. Then, there's the issue of physical strain. Sitting for long periods on planes, buses, or trains can lead to muscle stiffness, joint swelling, and an increased risk of blood clots. For older adults with arthritis or circulation problems, extended travel times can trigger discomfort that lingers long after the trip is over. And even once you reach your destination, the physical demands of sightseeing, carrying luggage, and keeping up with scheduled activities can quickly become overwhelming. A vacation that starts with enthusiasm can quickly turn into a struggle just to keep up. Consider the case of Richard Thompson, a 75-year-old man who had always enjoyed traveling. After retiring, he and his wife planned a 2-week trip abroad, thinking it would be as fun as their trips in years past. But after a 10-hour flight, navigating a crowded airport, and adjusting to a 6-hour time difference, Richard felt exhausted before the trip even began. By day 2, he struggled with the amount of walking, had trouble staying awake during tours, and found himself needing frequent rest stops. By the time he had adjusted, it was almost time to go back home, and he spent the following weeks recovering from the trip instead of enjoying its memories. Another challenge older adults face is maintaining their regular diet and hydration levels. Many destinations have unfamiliar cuisines that can cause digestive issues, and staying hydrated while on the move is often overlooked. Dehydration alone can lead to fatigue, dizziness, and confusion, making even simple activities difficult. Combine that with poor sleep and physical strain, and it's easy to see why many older adults feel worse after a trip instead of refreshed. What's the solution? If traveling is unavoidable, older adults should plan for plenty of rest, stay hydrated, and avoid packing too many activities into their schedules. Taking shorter flights with layovers to move around, packing nutritious snacks, and allowing time for naps can also help alleviate exhaustion. But most importantly, recognize personal limits and adjust travel plans accordingly. Because a vacation should be enjoyable, not something that takes weeks to recover from. The physical strains of traveling are a serious concern for older adults. But that's not the only potential danger. 4. Higher risk of falls and injuries. One of the biggest dangers when traveling after 70 is the increased risk of falls and injuries. As we age, our balance, reflexes, and bone density naturally decline, making us more prone to accidents. And while a minor stumble at home might not be a big deal, a fall while traveling, especially in an unfamiliar place, can lead to fractures, lengthy hospital stays, or even permanent mobility issues. The reality is that a single fall can change an older adult's life, turning what was supposed to be a relaxing trip into a painful and expensive ordeal. Many older adults don't realize how different travel environments can be from what they're used to. Hotels, cruise ships, and historic sites often have uneven floors, poorly lit staircases, or slippery surfaces, making falls more likely. Some destinations have limited or no accessibility accommodations, meaning simple activities like stepping onto a bus or walking on cobblestone streets can become unexpected hazards. And in many places, emergency medical services aren't as quick or advanced as they are at home, meaning even a minor injury can take longer to treat, increasing the risk of complications. Consider the case of Linda Davis, a 78-year-old woman who had always dreamed of visiting Europe. She was in relatively good shape for her age and regularly walked around her neighborhood without any problems. But once she arrived in Italy and began navigating the steep, uneven streets, she quickly realized it wasn't as easy as she thought it would be. One evening, while stepping down a curb in a poorly lit alley, she lost her balance and fell hard, fracturing her hip. She was rushed to a local hospital, where doctors informed her that she needed surgery. Not only did she have to cut her trip short, but she also had to spend months recovering once she returned home. The trip that was supposed to be the trip of a lifetime turned into an experience she wished she had never taken. Another contributing factor is fatigue. Traveling often involves long days, irregular eating schedules, and disrupted sleep, all of which can impact balance and coordination. When the body is tired, reaction times slow down, making it more likely to misstep or stumble. For older adults with arthritis or joint pain, walking long distances through airports, train stations, or tourist sites can cause swelling and discomfort, increasing the risk of a sudden loss of balance. So, how can older adults minimize their risk? If traveling is unavoidable, choosing destinations with good accessibility, avoiding high-risk areas with uneven terrain, and always wearing appropriate footwear can help. Walking sticks, supportive shoes, and plenty of rest can also make a big difference. And above all, recognize personal limits, because no trip is worth sacrificing your long-term mobility and independence. 5. Travel insurance and financial risks. One of the most unexpected dangers of traveling after 70 is not just about health, but about the financial risks that come with it. Many older adults assume that if they run into any problems while traveling, they can simply rely on their insurance or personal savings. But the reality is that travel-related medical emergencies, trip cancellations, and even financial scams can drain a person's bank account faster than they think. For many seniors, a single unexpected event can turn a well-planned trip into a financial nightmare, leaving them facing overwhelming expenses and stress. One of the biggest financial risks is medical care overseas. Many older adults don't realize that their regular health insurance often doesn't cover treatment abroad. This means that if you get sick or injured while traveling, you may be responsible for thousands of dollars in medical bills. Even in countries with more affordable health care, emergency medical evacuations, such as being airlifted to a suitable hospital, can cost tens of thousands of dollars. Without proper travel insurance, older adults can find themselves in a situation where they either have to pay a huge bill out of their own pocket or go without the care they need. Then, there's the issue of trip cancellations. Many older adults book trips months in advance, assuming they'll be in good health when the time comes. But life is unpredictable. Health problems can arise suddenly, requiring a trip to be postponed or canceled. Unfortunately, many airlines, hotels, and tour operators have strict policies that don't allow refunds for last-minute cancellations. This means that older adults can lose thousands of dollars if they have to change their plans without proper trip insurance. Recovering that money can be nearly impossible. In addition to medical costs and trip cancellations, there's another serious financial risk: scams and fraud. Older adults are often targets for scammers who prey on tourists by using tactics such as fake taxi services, overcharging for simple goods, or even elaborate schemes designed to steal credit card information. Many scammers specifically look for seniors who seem unfamiliar with their surroundings, knowing that they're less likely to notice a scam in progress in real time. And in some cases, criminals take advantage of older adults by offering fraudulent travel deals that turn out to be nothing more than an expensive trap. Consider the case of George Wilson, a 76-year-old man who had always been careful with his money. He booked a dream vacation to a tropical island, making sure to save on every part of the trip. But when he arrived, he realized that the hotel he booked didn't exist. He had fallen for an online scam, and by the time he realized it, his money was gone. With nowhere to stay, he had to scramble to find another hotel, paying twice as much as he had budgeted just to have a place to sleep. The trip that was supposed to be relaxing turned into a stressful financial mess that haunted him all the way back home. So, how can older adults protect themselves? First, always check if your health insurance covers international travel. If not, invest in a solid travel insurance plan that covers medical emergencies and trip cancellations. Second, when booking trips, only use reputable companies and avoid deals that seem too good to be true. And third, be extremely cautious with your money while traveling. Avoid carrying large amounts of cash. Be mindful of who has access to your credit card information, and never trust strangers with personal financial details. While travel can be enjoyable, these financial risks make it clear that after 70, a higher level of caution is needed. Unexpected expenses, the potential for loss due to scams, and the unpredictability of health emergencies make travel a gamble that not every older adult is prepared to take. We have just explored 5 key reasons why traveling after 70 comes with serious risks. Risks that many older adults don't consider until they face them directly. From unexpected health emergencies to injuries, exhaustion, infections, and financial traps, each of these challenges can turn what was supposed to be a relaxing vacation into an overwhelming, even dangerous experience. While travel might seem like an exciting way to enjoy retirement, the reality is that after a certain age, it requires far more planning, caution, and awareness than it did in younger years. But does that mean that older adults should never travel? Not necessarily. It just means that for those over 70, the way they approach travel has to change. Instead of tiring long flights, strenuous sightseeing, and risky destinations, it might be better to opt for closer, safer options that don't put as much stress on the body. Exploring local attractions, taking shorter trips, or focusing on destinations that offer easy access to medical care can make a big difference in safety and enjoyment. Travel should enhance life, not create new problems that linger long after the trip is over. If you or a loved one is considering traveling after 70, take a moment to really think about the potential challenges. Is your health stable enough to handle the trip? Do you have the right travel insurance to protect against financial risks? Have you chosen a destination that's safe and accessible for your needs? These questions might not be fun to ask, but answering them honestly can prevent unnecessary stress and hardship along the way. After all, longevity isn't just about adding years to life. It's about ensuring that those years are lived with quality, independence, and peace of mind. If avoiding unnecessary trips means staying healthier and safer, it's worth reevaluating the risks before booking that next flight. Thank you for joining us today. We would love to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today and how you plan to use in your life. Your thoughts are very important to us, so don't hesitate to share them. Reading your comments gives us great motivation and encouragement. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue to create good content to inform and inspire you. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.